Hey everyone, this is Sho, and thank you for checking out the video. So I've had a bit of time since my hot take first thoughts with SMT5. Admittedly, I was likely a bit more negative than I should have been, but after spending a great deal of extra time with the game, I've cooled off and want to put the lens on this game in a more clear light. So, for today's TAC review, where we look at a game's tactics, AI, and cheese, we're looking at the long-awaited Shin Megami Tensei 5. Let's dive in. Teased back in 2017, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is the 5th numbered installment in the core Megaten series. Fun fact, the core Shin Megami Tensei series is actually a spin-off of the original Devil Tuner series from the Famicom, which was actually based off of an 80s novel of the same name. Anyway, in regards to the story, many core SMT plots follows a typical formula of Tokyo destroyed, get powers, and then slap God. Or sometimes Lucifer. You're put into the role of a nameless high school student, and after some shenanigans, you meet Aogami and are given the godless power of Nahubino to continue your quest. From there, well, you'll need to play the game for yourself. As I've said times before, SMT stories are very nuanced, but I do admit this time I feel it is a bit weaker than previous entries. I'm sure there's some context I'm missing, but I'll need to come through it again later on. With that said, the new open world, definitely makes up for this. SMT5 is basically Breath of the Demons. Rather than being stuck in various dungeons as previous titles, most of the time you'll be spent on a huge open world map that is the ruins of central Tokyo. It is here that you are given an absolutely ridiculous amount of freedom. You can walk, jump, and Naruto run all over the place, discovering treasures, demons, and quests in ruined buildings, canyons, and rivers. There are abscesses, demon gate-like structures that upon defeat open more of the map for safe exploration. Additionally, there are buckets of side quests, and Mimans, which are a collecting mechanic that we'll mention more in a bit. Demons themselves now roam the world map, and just like previous entries, you'll be battling and recruiting them for your cause, but we'll cover that in more depth in the next section. Audio-wise, the game's soundtrack is nice and combines various genres together for some sick moments. One nice touch is how the audio switches from a soft, pensive tune when a battle starts to the full battle theme only after the first attack action occurs. For performance and visuals, I still stick to my original comments from the first thoughts. The game is extremely beautiful visually with amazing demon designs in HD. However, the performance gets very strange at times, with input lag, frame rate drops, asset drops, and all of that blur. A few of my friends even took a look and mentioned the same. This game is beautiful, but it definitely pushes the Switch to its max. On a final note, with the DLC, I haven't picked it up yet, but I fully intend to soon. I really need my Daisojo. So depending on the schedule, I may make a follow-up video that looks over the DLC exclusively. So most, if not all, the mechanics are exclusive to the battle system, so we'll start there. In true Megaten fashion, the press turns battle system is back. If you watch my Nocturne video, then there's nothing new. Basically, you're given one icon per party member, and you consume one icon per action. If you hit a critical or weakness, your icon flashes and can be reused. Dodging or nulling attacks removes icons prematurely, and all of these apply to both you and the enemies. There are a few points to note for SMT5 changes. First, passing your turn reuses the icon just like in previous games, but a sequential pass will actually maintain the icon with only really one exception. So you will not lose it with other titles, which is really, really nice. Magic can crit just like in SMT4, but this only seems to happen when using certain special skills. Also, buffs and debuffs are not unlimited like before. The effects will fade after a few turns. Hama and Mudo, the insta-kill light and dark spells, have been tweaked to allow for damage to be done if an insta-kill isn't possible, so that is a wonderful change that lets me feel better using angels. Addition to the new battle system is the Magatsuchi gauge. As you battle, a little red gauge will continue to fill up. At max, you'll have access to your Magatsuchi skills. These are masterclass limit break-like skills that all demons have available. The type of skills you can use are contingent on the demonic family, but they offer very powerful one-turn bonuses. By far the best, in my humble opinion, is the Nahobino skill. This boosts your overall attacks and insta-crits all skills, even if it's resisted. So let's move over to the skills now. The skills themselves are typical of any Mega 10 game. You got your elemental skills, physical attacks, buffs, debuffs, and so on. The affinity system is back from SMT4, so if you use a skill with a plus affinity, it will have a stronger effect. Vice versa, negative affinities lose effectiveness. The big game changer here is the inclusion of essences then. Essences are items that you gather that let you add specific skills or elemental attributes from one demon to another. By using the World of Shadows systems, you can allow for some demons to have access to new skills if by chance you miss passing them via fusion. Essences are a critical component for the Nahobino as well, as this is the only way for him to change his resistances and gain access to new skills. So, do be sure to collect as many as you can, and don't squander them too much, because you can only hold one essence at a time for a particular demon. It's also important to note that enhancing the Nahobino's skills will require the use of miracles to maximize this system. Miracles are another new addition and work like the upgrade mechanics from SMT4. Basically, you'll accumulate glory that can be traded for miracles that open up more demon slots, provide bonus affinities, and much, much more. Glory is acquired from the aforementioned Mimon, which are the small demons you'll find on the maps, as well as caches after beating the abscesses. Honestly, this is an integral mechanic that needs to be done. Some of the aforementioned mechanics, such as the demon slot expansions, are only accessible via the miracle system. This brings us to the main reason why we all love SMT, the demons. There are well over 200 plus demons, and if you've been keeping up with the daily Atlus videos, then you've probably seen the bulk of them already. Just like in previous titles, you'll be fighting, recruiting, and fusing them during your journey. As usual, there are families of demons which interact with each other by the way they fuse and so forth. Fusions in general have been enhanced by providing a lot of quality of life enhancements to how you can figure out fusions. For instance, the addition of the compendium fusions allows for you to fuse demons by automatically buying what's needed in the compendium. It's also worth a mention to talk about the recruitment system. This time it seems that demons have multiple question sets and specific answers that generate the needed responses for recruitment. For this reason, it seems that the talk function has been enhanced to actually generate good results, rather than the randomness of previous titles. Finally, old mechanics like moon phases are back and continue to impact AI behaviors, fusion abilities as it has in the past. In all, the system is extremely familiar to those who have experienced it before, so veterans can get right into it and know where to go. For newcomers, it could be a bit overwhelming at first, especially with the myriad of demons, skills, and mechanics to remember, especially with very little tutorials to support you. However, after some trial and error, it's an immersive system that is honestly one of the best turn-based variants you'll experience. So I racked up on normal as I do, and immediately felt the brick wall hit me. Now, I've been watching and listening to what many others have said regarding the difficulty, and honestly, I'm in the middle. The game is not as hard as SMT4 or SMT3, but it's not as easy as them either. For one thing, the enemies in general, even on safety mode, are thick. Nailing them with their weakness requires multiple turns to take them down, even if you are of a comparable level or higher. To top it off, enemies will use their skills to the fullest extent and will deliberately target your party on their weaknesses. I watched one particular fight where the enemy hammered my demon's weakness, and then immediately did it again after I resurrected her on the following turn. On that note, even on a normal encounter, expect to be 3-shot by any enemy. Bosses are extremely guilty of this, as they have extremely hard-hitting AoE and are able to use their own variation of Magatsuchi skills. However, it was here, especially with the bosses, that I noticed something. When I first encountered Hydra, I was about 3 levels shy of him and got completely wrecked. I attempted the boss a few times and began to realize something. It seems that a good amount of these fights are scripted in a particular way. In the case of Hydra, it was attack, buff, and then Magatsuchi. Turn 2, use Toxic Breath. This is when it hit me for sure, that this was indeed Matador Battle all over again. So, I went back, fused some demons that resisted or annulled the dark element, used some essences to add ice to my party, and then gained a level for show. Immediate difference. Took him down in one shot. Once again, I don't feel you've ever had an unfair advantage in this game. It's just a matter of learning the pattern and then executing the counter actions necessary. If anything, it seems that perhaps SMT5 is a little more lenient early on, as it seems most bosses can be killed -2 levels from the target. The big issue then is the addition of higher HP pools, which lead to prolonged battles. This means you'll need to have more careful planning and execution of your attacks. So, just as I had suggested before when discussing Nocturne, just take it slow. So I'm not gonna lie, the whole play on safety isn't gonna help much with that prolonged HP pool slowing everything down. Also, I will admit I haven't found much in terms of cheesing demons and mechanics so far, which I suppose is reflective of a sound game balance. This is arguably the hardest cheese I've written so far. Well, then let's make this a tact review then. I'll keep this to the first area just for anyone new looking for a little bit of help. So, a heads up, there are 50 Mimon in the Minatoku area. Do be sure to collect them all. There's a demon near the Diet building that can map out all Mimon on the map for you at a cost of a few thousand yen. This, along with hitting all the abscesses and caches, will net you somewhere around 500 glory. First order of business is to focus on demon slots to get more friends and any form of essence enhancements. Anything that lets you get more skills on your demons and skills on the Nahobino, and most importantly, the ability to transformate or transfuse resistances to Nahobino, you need these. This will ensure that you will not get one shot from Mudo or Hama. There are also a few side quests that allow you to choose between A or B in terms of demon friends. The big one in Minato is between Asparas and Lihan Sihie. I personally took Asparas as she has Bufu +2 and Ma Bufu +2, which make farming and boss fighting at this time extremely helpful. Yes, I am aware that Lihan gets media in a level or so, and her Dark Null is helpful for Hydra. But you can fuse Angel that has access to Humble Blessing, which is a nice small AoE heal spell that keeps you topped off early on. Plus, it leads to a special fusion for High Pixie at level 18. Also, there are other demons you can get Hydra for as well, but honestly, between these two, either way is fine. From my experience, you definitely want to push battles a bit more quickly, so focusing on your attacks early in game would be better. Don't put too much emphasis on status buffs or debuffs at the start. With their time-limited effects making multicasting something that's a necessity, it's going to waste time and prolong the battles, which arguably puts you in a bad position. So in terms of buffs and debuffs, try to get your hands on the party-wide spells and don't focus too much on the single shots. Also, don't forget to always hit up the vending machines. That's your source of money, buddy. On that note, have spy glasses handy at all times. This way you can actually hit the Mitama when you find them. If you're having trouble with the first boss, Hydra, I suggest fusing a Bicorn and Turdock. They invalidate the dark element, allowing you to push through the first phase and stop any of the follow-up from Hydra. Plus, the Rikarum on Turdock can be extremely useful. Also, Tsuchigumo, there we go, is a great bulky demon to have in your party early on. The bonus to its Zeo is also a great plus that helps knock out a good chunk of Minatoku's demons. Despite the performance issues, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is probably going to be the best JRPG we're getting for a long time on the Switch. The art and graphics are really beautiful, the mechanics are well presented, and the story, while not the best in the Mega 10 series, is still the nuanced plot we all enjoy. Veterans will be right at home with this, and as for newcomers, it's really not a bad entry into SMT. Just remember to take your time, and that this is not Persona 5. If you made it here, thank you so much for checking out the video. Coming up, I'm planning on taking a look at some strategy games that have been in my log and didn't get too much attention after release. On the Japanese side of things, releases are slowing down a bit, but I'm thinking of checking out the new Dynasty Warriors Empires, set to release in a few weeks. So if you enjoyed the content and you're looking forward to more, please be sure to like and subscribe. As always, thank you so much for sending your love through that. I really, really do appreciate it. And I do respond and read every comment on my videos, so drop your thoughts down below on your experiences with SMT5. If there are any questions you have, I'll do my best to answer them. or find you the answer. Finally, if there are any upcoming Japanese releases that you're interested in me checking out, let me know. I may be able to get my hands on it very easily. Thanks for watching, and remember, if the going gets tough, let's switch strats. Cheers!